3 years ago, I constructed this opening in the side of my garage when I turned it into a workshop. And then I made this wooden door to fit it, which has worked really well. But as you can imagine, things have taken off somewhat in the last 3 years. So I'm storing a lot more expensive equipment in here. For some time, I've been a little bit worried about security. So I've teamed up with Lathams steel security doors to upgrade to something that looks very similar, but a lot more secure. This door turned up around 10 days after I confirmed the size of my opening and the colour and all the bits and pieces and the type I wanted, and also came with a whole array of components, not just handles and the lock, but silicone sealer, shims and fixings for all different types of materials, and of course the fitting instructions. The door comes already fitted into the frame and is well wrapped up, and being powder coated, it's got a really nice finish on it. Nice. And throughout the installation, I was really careful to keep it that way. This door is what they call a cottage style door, which matches what I made myself. And I don't want it to look industrial, and you wouldn't know it's made from steel until you're really close up to it. Being quite heavy, the installation is classed as a two-person activity. But as usual, I'm doing this on my own, so don't try this at home. I would recommend getting the help of a friend. Because of this, I removed the door from the frame just to make it more manageable to install. This frame is 90mm thick, so small enough to fit a half brick thick wall like my workshop. Before going any further, I fit the wind out lugs to the frame. There's 10 of these, 5 on each side, which I'll explain a little bit about later, but for now I screw them in fully with the supplied chunky Allen key. I've picked a good day according to the weather forecast. So the plan is to get the old door out and the new one in, fully fitted and sealed by the end of the day. This homemade door has worked well, although acoustically it won't be as nearly as good as the new one I'm installing, so it should keep the neighbours happier when I'm using my power tools. I find the fixing holes that I plugged after installation of the old door frame and drill them out so I can remove the frame fixings. Most of these come out easy enough with my impact driver, although I do have a couple that just turn on me, which I've decided to cut off. By removing the trim both inside and out, I can now get to the silicone sealer, which I put in to fill the gap between the frame and the brickwork. I don't know if there's an official way of cutting this out, but I found using an old bread knife is a perfect tool to gradually cut through it. I would highly recommend keeping any old kitchen knives to put in your toolbox, especially bread knives. There just seems to be something about bread knives which just makes them come in useful for a number of DIY jobs. The whole process of taking out this door must have taken me at least an hour. So just like a host of DIY jobs, it took far longer than I predicted, as I thought I'd have this out in 10 minutes. With the frame out, it exposes all of the silicone that I squidged in 3 years ago just to seal it all the way around the outside, which now I need to clean up and remove. Before I put the frame in, I need to fix the bottom sill. That goes in first and the frame essentially sits on top of it. So I've got a sill here that was delivered with the door, and it's longer than I need. It's actually 1.2 meters and I need just under a meter. So I need to cut a little bit off the end, and also I'm going to notch it so it goes round the opening and comes out just like the original did in timber. So to do that, I'm actually going to use this cut-off saw. You can quite easily use an angle grinder, most people do. I just happen to have this cut-off saw set up. I was trying it out for something else, so I'm going to use this. It's going to give me a nice clean square cut, and it's essentially like using a timber miter saw. All I have to do is measure it and then cut it with this. The only difference is it's a bit noisy, and I've just realised with the door of the workshop off, going to be a bit noisy for the neighbours. Although I'm using this big metal chop saw, the sill is actually made from aluminium, so in reality I could quite easily just use a hacksaw, but it does, I suppose, mean that I get a square cut. I'm just a few millimetres away from having the capacity to cut all the way through, so I turn it around and finish a cut from the other direction. With it all at the right length, I can centre it in the doorway and mark my cutouts. I want to get the sill as level as possible, so I use some of the included shims to raise it at one end, just 2 millimetres, and then choose a couple of suitable positions to screw it down. When I put the frame on top of this, it's going to hide any screws I've got in this area. With a generous bead of silicone that once again came in the pack with the door, I can place the sill in its final position and secure it down. Just to finish things off, the sill also comes with a couple of end caps which are cut to suit and then pop in for a clean finish. So I've fixed the threshold, so now it's time to fix the frame. But before I do, it's probably worth talking a little bit about how the frame fits into your opening, because as you can imagine, everyone's got a different size opening. So these doors are not made to measure. If they were, they'd cost like 5 times more. They're actually standard size doors, but they fit people's openings by having an extender piece on the side and on the top. And this is quite a clever system, because there's some wind out lugs that you would have seen me put in earlier that push this frame out into the doorway, which means that I can get it set up, I can push it out and get it nice and tight and check that it's plumb and everything's right before I even put a single fixing in. So let's get these taped up before they fall all over the place. See if I can get this in on my own. Without taping everything together, I found it near impossible to pick up all of this and to get it into the doorway on my own without everything sliding all around and falling off. So just a few lengths of masking tape stops things moving and holds everything together. With the sill at the right level, the frame fitted perfectly first time, would you believe? With it in place, I can remove the tape and start winding out the lugs. So let me just explain how these wind out lugs work. This is my main frame and this is my extension piece, but it's only extended maybe 5 or 8 millimeters. It overlaps the front, so you can't really tell how far it's extending. And these wind out bolts push this extension piece away from the frame into the brickwork. So as I wind them out, the frame stays where it is, and this gets tight against the brickwork until you can feel it gripping there. It gets to the point where you can't move it because it's pushing in both directions. Now that's not fixed yet, but it does mean that I can check for plumb and I can make sure that it's in the right place and make minor adjustments. If that wants to go back a touch, I'll just loosen it off, knock it back and tighten it up again. So it gives me that flexibility to play with it without having to put any fixings in. And then when I do put the fixings in, they actually go straight through the wind out lug that I'm just winding out. There's a hole in the middle, so you actually fix straight into there. I think it's a great system. Just because the frame is made out of steel, it doesn't mean to say that it won't bend if the lugs are over tightened. So I still need to use a straight edge in the form of a spirit level to make sure it's not deflecting inwards. With the hinge side of the frame in the right position and plumb, I drill and put in the fixings. I also pop in a single fixing on the lock side at the bottom just to hold things at the moment, but it also gives me a chance later to adjust the top if the frame is racked compared to the door. A windbag came with the fixing set, so I use it to pump up the door to the right height, just so I can get a couple of the hinge screws in. I think I need all the help I can get at the moment with this heavy door balancing in place. Moment of truth. These wind out lugs really act like adjustable spacers or wedges. I can just loosen the fixing, then adjust them in or out, and then retighten the fixing without trying to get another spacer behind the frame and all of them falling out and all of that sort of stuff that I'm used to when I'm fixing a timber frame. Now I'm happy that the frame is not twisted and in the same plane as the door, I can fully fix the lock side as well. Doors in, now the lock. The door uses standard Euro cylinder locks that come with the door and 3 keys, and once in place operates a 19-point locking mechanism with bolts going into the frame at the handle position and head height and knee height, and also top and bottom shot bolts, which seems like plenty to me, especially when I compare it to my old door with a single lock. With all the adjustments made, I can put in the cover caps and stick on the weatherproof strip, which really gives it a nice seal all the way round. So with the door installed, I've sealed all around the perimeter of it with the anthracite coloured silicone sealant that actually came with the door, both inside and outside, just to keep out the weather. And on the inside, I've reattached a little bit of wooden trim that I got off the old door that just hides a little bit of ragged brickwork all the way around the outside. And it actually matches the new door. So there it is, the door is 100% complete and I'm really happy with it. It feels really secure. And when you close it, it has a certain sound that makes you feel like you've closed something quite expensive. And those locks that come out in all different directions, I think means that nothing is going to come through there unless I want it to. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Remember, go and have a look at the Patreon page, subscribe, hit the bell notification button, all of that sort of stuff, and I will see you next time.